Hello and welcome to the first ever May Gala. My name is Soe Gschwind and I have the utmost pleasure of being your host for today's festivities. Now, since this is the first of its kind, let me quickly walk you through all the action and everything you need to know about the May Gala. This show is a nod to the Met Gala. Some of you might have noticed that it's a bit on the nose, honestly, and that is known as fashion's biggest night out. But with this iconic fashion event being rescheduled for September, we just wanted to fill the void, at this time of the year with our very own May Gala, shining a light at the artistry and the passion of cosplayers from around the world. Our gala's theme is Our Best Is Us, and we think this is perfectly fitting for this very inclusive environment both fashion and cosplay have. A true celebration of the talent and the diversity our communities represent and share. And of course also, we assemble a very exciting panel of commentators who will enjoy and provide feedback on each display we are going to see today. Now, our panel, they will be watching the runway content from each contestant, live react to each of our cosplay guests, and we also get to pick their brains discussing their designs and the hard work which it took to bring their heroes to life. Now, since we do have so many fabulous entrants today, I had to assemble quite the squad of talent to help me showcase and evaluate the costumes from a fashion, a performer, as well as an artistic perspective. So please welcome our panel. First, we have the incredible talented artist, Paul, better known as Bird.
Thanks a lot, Zoe. So yes, my name is Paul Warzaga. More of the art community will know me as Bird, and I've been part of the Blizzard family for over 13 years, and I've been making Overwatch models and got to be involved in a lot of the things that you're going to see here today as far as some of the different skins. So I am super excited to see what everybody's been up to here.
Thank you so much, Paul. I'm so excited to have you here and pick your brain as well from the design perspective and creating those beautiful skins and the heroes we all know and love so much. Now, next up, I would like all of you to meet the incredible wordsmith, Jessica Andrews.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Jessica Andrews, and I'm the Deputy Fashion Editor at Bustle. I've been writing about fashion for over 15 years, and especially Met Gala red carpet coverage. And I've got the chance to attend twice, so I consider myself an expert on that. I'm just so excited to see the fashion today at the May Gala, and it's really filling the void for me since we couldn't go to the Met Gala this year.
I can't wait to hear what you have to say about all those beautiful cosplays we are going to see from a fashion perspective. Now, last but certainly not least, we've got some royalty joining us as well. An absolute queen on and off the stage, Jinx Monsoon.
Hi, I'm very excited because I'm not just a drag queen, which is cosplay adjacent, but I'm also a big fan of Overwatch myself, and I play daily, and I main as Moira, and I'm so excited to be a part of this.
We're so excited to have you, and I absolutely love and adore your very Moira-inspired look today. I'm feeling some glamorous Moira Blackwatch.
Yeah, that's my favorite skin, except for at Halloween time, then I wear the Banshee skin.
I love it. Well, I can't wait to see that one too. I guess I have to get you back on a call throughout Halloween then. Well, I think we're already here on the panel, and I know we're all itching to see the cosplayers. So let's just begin. We're kicking it off with Asian Problems cosplay from the USA, and she will be with us dressed up as everyone's favorite ice queen and the namesake of this very event, May. We are so happy to have you with us on the show tonight.
It's so great being here.
It's so great to have you on. And I absolutely love that you're rocking the Overwatch skin as well. I mean, this is definitely the year to support that team, I dare say, in the Overwatch League. Now, let's just turn to the runway and take a look at May.
Since Overwatch came out, I've been told I look similar to May, which actually made me play the game. After playing Overwatch, I fell in love with May's backstory and how positive she is with everyone. After losing her friends, she persevered and moved forward with Snowball. I think because of how optimistic she is, it made me appreciate her character design more. The gun, the tank, and the Snowball are 3D printed and painted with built-in LEDs with accents. The gloves are a vinyl stitch with fleece base. The coat is a nylon ripstop, so it's got that coat sound and feel, but it's much more durable than regular windbreaker and nylon. The coat does have a satin lining, so it's nice to wear. It makes it feel a little bit cool since I do live in Texas. The puffy part is batting, so it gives it that coat feel for the winter, but not really.
That was amazing, pun intended. Thank you so much, Asian Problem Cosplay, for joining us on the show today. Let's talk about this gorgeous, gorgeous cosplay you are presenting for us today. Is May your favorite character? Is that why you chose it? Or do you just really like her designs?
I really love her design. I'm from Texas, so playing or even cosplaying someone that's meant to be cold, it's really rough, honestly, because I'm wearing this coat. It's like 90 degrees out in Texas.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for
Can you-
sweating for us.
Can you tell us a little bit about Snowball? Because I noticed the eyes light up. Can you show us a little bit about that? Because that was super cool.
Yes, he is 3D printed and he has an Arduino board inside, so he's able to change emotions if you just tap his head.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's amazing.
I would buy that in an instant. That's the kind of merch I need for sure. How long did it take to make Snowball?
It didn't take long. I had some help with the programming, so 3D printing wise, it only took about a week because I do it multiple printers. And then with programming, I had to look up a lot of stuff, and boom, Snowball was alive.
Was that the most difficult part of the costume to build?
Honestly, the difficult part would have been the tank. I had issues trying to mount it on my back because it is also 3D printed. And because of the weight, I didn't know how to attach it to just two backpack straps.
I love the logo detail all over your coat. Logo mania is like huge in fashion right now. It's 90s everywhere again. So tell me about the inspiration behind that, and then also what your favorite part of the costume was.
The logo that you see on my arm, on right here on my chest right here, it's embroidered in. I love Houston Outlaws. I love supporting my hometown. So I was so glad to see a May skin with the logo and everything. My favorite part about the costume, honestly, is just being able to represent a great Overwatch team. I got to meet the players at their homestand recently, or not recently, last year. I feel like the whole year passed by with COVID, but
Yeah, that one never happened. Don't worry about it.
it's just amazing to support such a great team.
One of my favorite details is the hair accessory, and I think I just love seeing how things go from illustration or animation to real life and seeing the different proportions and everything. And I think with the kind of witchcraft you're pulling off, creating your own pieces, I think give you another couple of months and you'll probably have the frost gun made where it actually shoots out ice and stuff. So
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Now, well, you got time. You got time. We're waiting. We're patiently waiting for it. Now, I know that this is not your first May cosplay. In fact, you've done quite a few. How many May cosplays have you done? And also, are you planning to just do them all?
I've done at least 10, and I definitely plan on doing more. I haven't done the penguin skin, which is coming up next for me. And then the May Melee skin looks really great, so I plan on doing that in the future as well.
MMA is a brilliant skin. Also a brilliant pun. So, Paul, kudos to you and your team. I was thoroughly enjoying that one. Do you have a favorite May skin then?
My favorite May skin has to be Eco Point. That is my favorite skin that I've cosplayed. I love that skin in the cinematic. You see her transition from Pajama May to Eco Point, and then she's so optimistic in the cinematic. It was so sad. It was so happy that I just learned to love the skin.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming onto the show today and showcasing your gorgeous cosplay for us.
Nice.
Next up, we do have Johnny Junker from the USA joining us, and he will be dressed up as, I dare say, my favorite edgelord, Soldier 24, also known as Reaper. He will be joining us shortly. Now, of course, I want to once again know what's important to consider when dressing up as this very character. So, Paul, or rather Bird, what went into the making of the design of Reaper?
When I'd heard that he was doing Soldier, and it was Soldier 24, you're kind of thrown for a loop, right? You think, oh, it's going to come out as Soldier 76, but Soldier 24 being the older version of Reaper. And Reaper is all about, we think about him in terms of the big dark cloak. He's got that cool skull mask and the whole bit. Well, the thing is, this is the version before he became the Reaper that we all know. So we get to see him in more of his military gear. But again, what's iconic about him is definitely that cloak. As we're, when you're playing him in the game from a distance, you want to be able to tell that, oh, I'm fighting against Reaper. So I'll be curious to see how this all kind of comes together.
Now, Jinx, do you have a favorite Reaper skin?
Probably the Dracula one.
That one is a good one. The Plague Doctor I also very much enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I always go for the Halloween skins, but I feel like it's so gauche to wear them out of season,
Yeah, no, you gotta stick to seasonal skins, of course.
Yeah.
Now, Jessica, I want to get your input here as our fashion expert as well. Now, Reaper's looks are generally more subdued and dark, just within the nature of the character. But what are some things to consider when working in the monochromatic color scheme in the world of fashion?
Well, one thing I really love when it comes to monochromatic is mixing different materials and textures, so you do have some dimension to your look, even if it's all the same color. I think that's something I usually always go by when I wear all black, which I imagine the Reaper would be enjoying as well. But one thing that I really picked up from what Paul said was the idea of this kind of grim, dark, dramatic look. And it reminds me of like old Alexander McQueen with the skull, and the really menacing cloak. So I feel like it's really great to reference his designs and those looks when coming up with this costume.
Right on. Well, without any further ado, we want to see you on the runway. So let's take a look at that video straight away.
Hi, I'm Johnny Junkers. I am Soldier 24 for the May Gala. He's an edgelord. He's a pizza cutter. He is all edge, no point. I chose Soldier 24 because honestly, Overwatch just has a lot of crazy characters and I needed something that I could move around in. I think I'm one of the only cosplayers that still works out of Sintra instead of 3D printing or craft foam or EVA foam. So everything you see here is made out of PVC foam, and I cut them out, heat formed them, sanded them, and kind of worked with them as if they were wood. For me, making armor is kind of another day at the office. So what I was really proud of is that I have attained enough mastery that I was able to make both of his guns in maybe a day. The other one is the headpiece here, his little communicator thing. I was able to use a Bluetooth headset, so that's how it sticks to my head. And that's how I've been doing it for earpieces and other headpieces. And that's something I actually learned that was new on this costume that I've been using going forward. My wife hates it when I'm about to wear this costume because she doesn't like me with a beard. Hope you enjoy the May Gala. There's going to be a lot of crazy things going on, so stay tuned.
Well, we now have Johnny Junkers with us. So hello, thank you so much for joining us here on the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Let's just chat a little bit about that cosplay. How long did it take you to create this Soldier 24?
So I've been doing this for a little while. That took me about, I think, like a month and a half on the weekends because I work full time. So I guess that would give me like 16 days, 18 days or so on and off. So
that honestly sounds like very little considering what I just saw. That was some absolute top-notch cosplay. Is Reaper your favorite character in the game, or you just really like that design?
I like that design. I chose it over for something because BlizzCon is down here. I'm local to Anaheim. So I needed something that, because I was Genji the year before, and I was like, I can't do the mask anymore. I can't do that. I want to be able to walk. I want to be able to move around and hang out with my friends. So I'm like, okay, no thigh armor, no mask, no bicep armor. like what can I do? So that, and then he met all the wickets, and I didn't want to be the one with like the little beanie. I think that's his other skin. I'm like, I don't like the beanie. I like to have cool hair at least. So.
I really respect how much effort and time you put into it. And I just wanted to ask, what's your favorite thing about cosplay? What do you love the most about the practice?
What I really like the most about cosplay is actually just physically making things. When I just live in my little workspace, my garage, and I have the printers going, I have the bandsaw going. In that case, I had a friend working on Soldier 76 at the same time, so that collaborative effort is also very entertaining. But it's really just being able to make something out of nothing, because I started out with a bunch of sheets of PVC, and then all of a sudden you have a costume that makes people say, good and bad things about it. So I think it's the great thing.
What was the hardest part to make for this costume?
The hardest part was probably the bracers. I didn't really have a lot of experience making closed bracers like that with the tubing and the faux carbon fiber. We used like a dish mat spray on. So I had like a dish mat and it had like little holes in it. So I sprayed through the dish mat into the bracer to make it look like it was carbon fiber, because like nobody got time or money, mostly money, for carbon fiber. B, I can barely wrap a Christmas present, much less vinyl wrap a compound curve. So I know my limitations. So.
Well, Johnny Junkers, thank you so much for joining us today and displaying your absolutely gorgeous cosplay. Can't wait to see more from you in the future. Now, we're getting ready for our next guest, which is SD Gently from Russia, showcasing the infamous hacker queen, Sombra. Now, I'm very excited for this one. Sombra is always just such a fun character to look at cosplays at. Let's talk about the design of Sombra. She's a hacker, right? So you have like a very, very specific theme. Is that hard to design around without making it too on the nose or costumey?
I'll be honest with you. We are on the nose and not shy about it. In this case, the fact is that, we all grew up, watching all kind of the same sorts of, a lot of the same culture, and so when you think about Sombra, she's just a hacker first and foremost. So we wanted everything to support that vibe. So it's kind of that tech, the feeling of circuit boards and wires. Mm-hmm. I mean, even the graft that she has in her hair. I love the fact that it just integrates in with that cool hairstyle. It's just got such a cool vibe. And then we also kind of give it a little bit of, she's from Mexico, so we actually kind of give a little bit of a shout out to that in that skull design that actually has that look that it's a little bit of the Day of the Dead kind of vibe. So yeah, I'm excited to see this one as well. It's going to be super cool.
Jinx, what do you like the most about Sombra's design?
I like the cultural references, and I like that it seems like a futuristic cyberpunk kind of look. I like that Overwatch exists in this realm of time that feels like our time, but enough in the future that, like, you can imagine people flying around and shooting lasers and stuff. So I like the kind of mixture of time periods there. I guess what I'm looking for in a Sombra cosplay is the attitude to read through. I was going to say this for Reaper, but like, if the costume irritates me because I see Reaper coming at me, because when I'm playing the game, the last thing I want is to, like, when I'm main as Moira, to get pinned down by a Reaper, or to have a Sombra like sneak in and hack you and then disappear. They're probably the most frustrating characters to play against. So that's what I'm looking for in a cosplay. Do you frustrate me?
Yeah, that's the key there. Now, Jessica, from a fashion perspective, how on the nose can you be? I mean, Bert just said, like, for games, like, yeah, let's be on the nose with it. Let's be very obvious about it. How obvious is fashion when they're trying to convey a specific topic like hacking?
Well, it's so interesting you say that, because every Met Gala has a theme. And I think that the people who are too on the nose, sometimes it is kind of looked down upon, because you want to be inspired, but then add your own creativity to it, which I think that all of the people here are doing today. So I think it's taking a bit of different references and then finding how you can really celebrate your own style within that. With this character, I imagine that they can pull from two Met Gala themes that were really popular. The punk theme that Jinx mentioned, that was in our 2013, and then the Manus Machina theme, which was fashion and technology, that was 2016. So we saw a lot of people not dress up exactly how you would imagine with punk rock, but maybe they do inspiration with their hairstyle, going very spiky, or maybe be one robot arm like, Gigi Hadid and Zayn wore. So it's taking different references and making it your own.
Well, we do now have SD Gently joining us right from Russia. So let's welcome her to the show as well before taking a look at her runway. SD Gently, thank you for joining.
Sombra Online. Thank you for inviting me here.
I'm already in love. I'm already in love with what I'm seeing. So let's take a look at your runway performance and then discuss your outfit.
Who is Sombra? For the system, she doesn't exist. But today, I'm your Sombra, Joe. Hi. Why did I choose her? She's inscrutable as a gaming character or a story character. Also, she's my favorite character and my main in the game. As unusual as Sombra herself, her costume is not so simple. For me, this work was of an experimental nature. At the time when I was doing this costume was the most technically difficult for me. Wig. I used a belt silicone cap, one ombre wig, L-wires, foam run, fluorescent dyes and alcohol markers for coloring the wig. Sewing. From fabrics I used the wedding satin, a lot of leatherette, fabric oil, paints for fabric. Also, drew the fabric and made the pattern by myself. Props. Here for the first time I got the opportunity to work with a 3D printer. Backpack and SMG were printed and the models were taken from open source. And all of this is just 100 of what I can tell you about my cosplay.
Gorgeous in cosplay and out of cosplay. Let's talk about your design, and let's start with a very big question here. Why did you choose Sombra? Is she the character you main, or are you just really in love with the design?
I'm already main her in the game, and I really love cyberpunk's style, and she is have most like my favorite colors, and she's so awesome. I fell in love to her when I just for first time I see her.
I love all the hard lights, like the lights, how did you end up making those?
It's EL wires. Also, he's naming like cool neon. It's
Okay.
not LED lights, and I use special batteries for this neon. And it's my first cosplay. Then I put too many lights to my costume, and I soldering it is by myself.
That's
Oh, man. Well,
amazing. I love that.
it totally captures that cybernetic, that cyberpunk kind of vibe, which I love to see. So it's pushed it over the top that way. It's great.
Going off what you said, Paul, I really had to shout out the punk references. I think your beauty look here is absolutely incredible. It's something that I think that sometimes people forget about with cosplay, but you have this awesome makeup, you have blue lipstick, which is the one look I haven't seen at the Met Gala yet. Your hair accessories, your nails, it's all really fun. So if you had to pick one feature from this look that you loved creating the most, what would that be?
For first, I decided that I'm more prop maker and more creator, not so like a model. It's the most favorite parts of creating cosplay. I did all by myself, also wigs, clothings, prop making, and just my life. I really love to do it.
I really enjoy all the details, from the ombre hair and the purple contact lenses. I always feel like when I'm doing a costume and I put in the lenses very last, and that's when I like look in the mirror and all of a sudden I've fully transformed into a new person. And I really relate to what you were saying, like when you saw Sombra, you just fell in love with her. Even though I suck at Widowmaker, I'm obsessed with her, and I probably next chance I get, I'll paint myself purple for one of these things.
I gotta give you kudos too for that. That gun is fantastic. Like I know that our modelers back at the office, like they appreciate the fact that those aren't easy shapes to build, and so it's amazing to see how you kind of pulled that all together. I mean, it's a killer piece.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for being with us today, Essie Gently. And we can very much tell how much love and passion went into that cosplay. It was an actual joy to watch you on the runway. Thank you so much for joining us. What a beautiful take on Sombra. And she's right? Those colors, they just pop, they're fun. Even though she's a dark or edgy character, like she's not afraid of those neon colors. And I absolutely adore that. Now, our next guest is the Crayon Thief. I just love that nickname. Like, can you come up with a better nickname? I don't think you can. And he's going to bring us his iconic take on everyone's poster child Overwatch hero. It's Tracer. Now, of course, if you're cosplaying as, I don't want to call her the main character, but she is the poster child of Overwatch. What's the most important thing if you want to be the main character, Jinx?
I think with Tracer, it's like kind of her sprightliness and her playfulness. And when you're choosing such an iconic character, we want to be able to know right away, like the second we see you, exactly who you're portraying. And I think everyone's really succeeded at that so far. There hasn't been a moment where I was like, wait, who's this? So I'm really excited to see Tracer, because Tracer's also a queer icon, so she must be celebrated.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, she means a lot to many people for that very reason. She's one of those cornerstones of that game who really, showcase the diversity that game embraces. Now, creating such a character, there's a lot of pressure, Paul. How many different renditions were there of Tracer until you guys were satisfied?
Tracer's funny because she was around since the very beginning. And when I say very beginning, I mean, it was one of the very first characters that we started down the path with. And there were different versions of Tracer. In fact, potentially male versions of that character, and ultimately it got honed down, and at the end of the day she became all about speed, and everything about her is about speed. It's the high-tech running shoes, it's the ombre tights, it's the wild hair. It's like everything kind of reinforces that, and probably one of the trickiest parts with all the different skins moving forward is including that chrono accelerator that's on her chest. We've got to find a way to kind of work that into the design and still keep it sleek and keep that vibe.
Jessica, when you hear speed, what do you think from a fashion perspective? What materials would you use? What kind of outfits do you want to see there?
Well, I think about Tracer's tights that you guys mentioned, and activewear is such a huge market for us, especially during quarantine with people working out at home, people always being on the go. So it's about like fabrics that move with you, that really kind of give you that energy in terms of the look, but they also are comfortable. They're also easy to navigate. And one thing I really loved about Tracer's look I wanted to bring out was just that burst of color, like that orange, that yellow. It just felt so alive and full of energy and really powerful. And I think that people are actually gravitating toward that with their activewear pieces too, especially during the summer.
I couldn't agree more. Now it is time to meet Crayon Thief, who will be displaying Tracer. So let's say hello to our next guest here on the show. Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, how's everyone?
Oh my God, I'm already in love. I already love where this is going. Let's very quickly look at your runway performance, then afterwards we're going to pick your brain about your costume.
Hey Overwatch League, my name is Gustavo and this is my Overwatch 2 Tracer cosplay. My favorite thing about Tracer is just how incredibly optimistic she is. She has this great positive energy about her, and she's only a blink away from having your back. Most of the armor for this costume is actually made out of EVA foam, which makes it lightweight and easy to wear. One of my favorite things about this cosplay is this cape I added for this event. Not only do I feel it represents Tracer, but it represents me. And I'm so happy that my community and myself are being celebrated in the Overwatch world. Another feature I'm really proud of is Tracer's gravity defying hair. It took a lot of hairspray and patience to get this hair right. Thanks for joining me as I got to transform into my favorite Overwatch character.
What a gorgeous look that is for you. Thank you so much for joining us with that artistry. Now, I mean, first of all, I just quickly have to mention, how are you looking so good in tights? Why does that not look like that when I'm wearing it? A little bit jealous, not gonna lie.
It helps.
Oh yeah, I can see you're not skipping leg day, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the design for Tracer. Why did you go with this specific skin? Is this your favorite from Tracer?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as the Overwatch 2 trailer dropped, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do that outfit like immediately. So I think it dropped like in November, and then already by January I was already working on it.
That's fantastic. This is the first time I'm getting to see like an Overwatch 2 cosplay, and so it's super cool to see, because part of the challenge on our end was to actually update. You know, everybody knows the iconic look for Tracer, and how do you capture that and make it just a little more sleek and techy? And I think you managed to capture it super well, like all the little details and the buckles and everything. That like it's just spot on, man.
Yeah, even though like I love the Tracer's original look, I think the more sleek, modern look fits a lot better, and I love where they're headed. And honestly, it was one of my goals to be the first one to have like a decent Overwatch 2 cosplay. I was like, I need to be the first one.
As I mentioned before, I remember when Lena Waithe wore like a rainbow cape to the May Gala, and it was such a iconic look, and really, I think, touched a lot of people from a representation standpoint. So why was that important for you to include as a part of this costume?
Yeah, thanks for saying that. I appreciate it. To me, representation does matter. I mean, growing up, I've always played video games, but I just never felt represented in a way. And also, you know, sometimes we see representation, but it's not in a good light. You know, it's like, let's say a queer character, but it's just like in a very stereotypical light, or it's always as a joke. So I like that Tracer, she is part of the community, but that's not her thing. You know, she's a person. You know what I'm saying? Like, she has her own personality. She has a life. She fights for good. She's not a stereotype, you know, and I love that, because that's, I feel like, what we need to see. Like, we're normal people, you know. Yes, there's some funny ones. Yes, there's some like very extra people, and I love that. You know, we love our community, but it's good to see people just being people.
I love in the cosplay community seeing cross-gender cosplays. I love people playing with gender through all mediums. And I have to compliment your wig game, because the fact that it's like standing straight up, I mean, that's always the hardest part, I think, when you take something that's animated or illustrated and put it in real life. I think the wig separates the princesses from the queens out there, I think.
Thanks, I tried. And by the way, I actually took a lot of tips from wig styling from drag queens. I was watching YouTube videos like how to tease, use, you know, what hairspray. So it took a lot of, you know, trial and error. I wish you guys could see the first wig I made, because it was like busted.
This is the biggest secret. I don't know if
That's exactly what I used.
I don't know if I can do brand placement, but this is all your answers right here.
100%. That's what's keeping this like this.
No, and honestly, like, that's always one of the first things I'm looking at when I'm seeing Tracer cosplay. It is the hair, because it is such an iconic look. Like, of course, like the chrono accelerator should look nice, and you know, like the tights and everything needs to be in place. But it's really the wig which make that character, and you did a phenomenal job. Also, I love your makeup. It's gorgeous. You are looking absolutely gorgeous.
Initially, when I first started cosplay, because I was, you know, kind of nervous and whatnot. And again, you always think, oh, well, what are people going to think? At first, I did my first Tracer was very boyish, you know. But then I was just like, you know what? It's water off a duck's back. I'm going to do whatever I want. And, you know, And I was like, no, I'm going to do like full glam. I want to do like Tracer. You know, I want people to see me and be like, oh no, yeah, that's Tracer.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Thank you so much, the Crayon Thief, joining us here on our May Gala show. It's been an absolute pleasure watching you on the runway. And yeah, I'm just so excited to have so many talented people here representing themselves and representing those heroes. Now, next up, we do have, of course, another guest. This one is Mariki Cosplay, coming from Italy to us, and she will be cosplaying as Ashe. Now, Ashe is our second deadlock person in the game, right? So she's the second very cowboy-esque or cowgirl-esque looking character. What was important going into the design for this character, Paul?
Well, I think you hit it right out of the gate, right? Like, it's very much that Western vibe. It's a very kind of cowboy or cowgirl kind of get up. The interesting part is we take a big piece of that and we actually put a big twist of kind of biker gang on it. And you notice, like with her or Bob, you know, they've got the big patches on their back, you know, aside from all the leather and all the typical stuff you'd expect from, you know, from the Western vibe. Obviously, you know, that cowboy hat. And we just kind of gave it that little bit of a twist, and even down to the weapons that she's got, her shotgun.
Jinx, what are your thoughts on the Ashe skins in general, or on the character and the attitude? Because she's a mean girl, all right?
Yeah, Ashe is another character I really wish I was good at playing, because she's one of my favorites. I don't know, ever since the movie Death Becomes Her, I just can't get enough of a strong woman with a shotgun. So that's one of my favorite aspects of Ashe. And then having like a big buff robot butler type character. It's just so evocative of so many tropes that really resonate with me. So Ashe is one of my favorite characters.
I think Bob is my favorite, just in general. Mostly when he does something, that's when it really pops off. Now, Jessica, if you have to fulfill a prompt such as, you know, like gang member or an outlaw or something like that, how does one do that in the fashion world without it looking like a costume?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And I think it's like the, you know, beauty is in the details, right? And like the accessories. So just, you know, incorporating hardware, whether that's like studs or, you know, even your choker, I think is so gorgeous, and you can glam that up to look even like a weapon, right? So like really playing with hardware and tough looks. And one thing I really love about this character is their hat. And, you know, the Western vibes there. So, you know, even thinking of like Billy Porter's hat from Grammys 2020, that was like electronic, and that came with Friends. So just like really leaning into the details and making it tough and making it stand out, I think is the way.
Well, we do now have Mariki Cosplay joining us. Thank you so much for coming on the show to display your cosplay to us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. No, it is our pleasure. Now we want to get straight to it and take a look at your runway performance. Her business, her rules. Let's see how this dynamite throwing outlaw is going to look in action.
Hi, I am Mariki, and I'm from Italy. And this is my Ashe cosplay. I immediately loved the character and his gameplay. It took me a year to create a cosplay and improve it. The dress is made of a collator and the patch on the jacket is hand-sewn. The accessories are made of foam and hand-painted. For the rifle, I decided to do it in Forex and 3D printing, also hand painting.
That is phenomenal. That is
Hi guys.
absolutely phenomenal.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, Mariki. Now let's talk about the cosplay. First of all, I want to know, why did you choose Ashe?
I choose Ashe because I love her hairstyle. Her is a strong character and a much sensual character. And I love his gameplay.
Nice. I love how you captured the vest. You've got the off center of the vest, you know, and captured that. and again, like the stoicness, with the tie, you capture that. You've got like the colors are spot on. The back patch. I mean, I don't know how much work it took to get that in there, but man, it looks so good.
Jessica, how do you feel about her version of Ashe after seeing the character and now seeing her performance as well?
I really love the Western-inspired accessories. I mean, that hat is spot on. I love the details she put into the boots. I think that there was a lot of care and effort put into it, and it really kind of brought the outfit alive to invest in those accessories that way. And then that red lip is just killer. It really just sets the whole costume off and brings it all together. So job well done.
Yeah, the devil's in the details, and those details are popping. Thank you so much, Mariki Cosplay, for coming onto the show and showing us your absolutely beautiful cosplay and chatting with us a bit as well. Thank you so much. We have more coming, and what a treat it's been so far. Like, such high levels of crafting and displaying all their beautiful work to us. The next one I'm very excited about. It's coming from 8-Big Pink, and she will be doing Bastion. Now, Bastion being a robot, that's not an easy feat, all right? Like, you're not humanoid at all. I think there's going to be a lot of, very important things to consider when you want to cosplay as a character like that, Paul.
I'm actually really interested to see how she pulls this off, because from a modeling standpoint, when we build this character, I mean, it's like building a transformer. It has to look good in tank form, and it has to look good as a walking robot, and it has to look good when it's all hunkered down as a weapon. So making it look good when it's walking around can sometimes be a little bit of a trick. So, but it's it's such a charming character. It's very much, it's all kind of the miming, the way it acts, and you can never go wrong with Ganymede, who's always sitting on the shoulder and always super cool to see.
Yeah, I always wonder what kind of witchcraft you guys use to design a robot who is just so likable and so adorable. Like, that shouldn't work like that. Jessica, how often does fashion actually take inspiration from, cyborgs or robots, or is that a thing at all in the fashion world?
Such a great question. I mean, we had a whole Met Gala that was dedicated to just that, fashion in the age of technology. That was Manderson Machina. I remember seeing, I mentioned Zayn Malik, he was there with a robot arm. Gigi Hadid, he had a chest plate that was silver. I think Jinx mentioned contacts before, and Kanye West came with blue contacts in his eyes. He looks like an alien. I mean, it's very, prevalent in fashion. It's very fun. And I think it's cool to dress up with that in mind because it feels very powerful. So I'm excited to see what they do with the hero today.
Have you played around with a robot theme in the drag world as well, Jinx?
I feel like it comes up all the time. I don't know. There's no fashion trend that drag hasn't encroached upon at one point or another. I'm trying to think if I've ever. I used to do a lot of wind-up doll acts where I would paint myself like a porcelain doll, and I think that's one of my favorite things of the characterizations of robotic characters is when a person can kind of simulate that pop and locking movement.
It's only the performance which makes it, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm excited for Bastion because for a robot character, I watched the short about Bastion, the cinematic, and there's so much humanity in that automaton.
There really is. Yeah, I think that one made me weep the hardest. Yeah. That's just it. That really killed me. Ganymede, of course, is selling the whole thing. Well, let's take a look at our Bastion. 8-Bit Pink is joining us here in her Bastion cosplay.
Hi, everyone. I mean, creepy.
Oh, a translator built in. I absolutely love it. Let's take a look at your runway performance, and then we're going to chat about your beautiful Bastion outfit. incredible. Wow. And the cinematography was spot on too. Drone shots and everything. All right. All right. Well, see, I always pick Bastion for a heel-wearing robot. I'm glad to, see those details right here in your performance as well. Why did you choose Bastion?
Yeah, so I really wanted to challenge myself. So this is actually the very first armor cosplay I've ever done, and I thought, what would be better than a full-blown like armor that is just basically a robot? So that's why I decided to go for Bastion, because I think it's a character that's not really cosplayed at all. I think in my whole life I've seen maybe like one Bastion cosplay, and it wasn't even a full-on cosplay at all. It was like basically the head. So, and also just watching the animation short, of course, I have to talk about that. Like, I definitely the most emotional animation short of the Overwatch universe I've ever watched. It's so crazy that the animators could make a robot seem so human, so emotional, and just it really inspired me. And also, I'm usually a support main, but if I am to play DPS, I'm just gonna pick Bastion. So
I wanted to know what your favorite part about creating the costume was. I just really loved all the nature details, not something you would associate with a robot costume. So I thought that was really creative. I just wanted to know what your favorite part of the costume was.
So I think my favorite part was really thinking about how I could get all these armor pieces to stick on me. So before I used to do like sewing. So sewing, obviously you just wear it, right? But for this, I thought, okay, I wanted to make it very easy to walk in. So what I did is actually you can kind of see over here, but everything is actually attached by like magnets that I sewed onto a very basic like black top, and I just sewed magnets and then would just attach everything with a magnet. So it's actually really light to walk in, and the magnets are pretty strong. So definitely my favorite part. I think that was a part where I was really stressed about when I first started thinking about the design, but these magnets are like magic. And also another part I really like is that like these like the grass details are actually all made of like green felt that I just cut up and I put it on. And I think it really emphasizes like the cartoonish part of the character.
This is the overgrown skin, right?
Yeah.
This is favorite Bastion skin. Yeah.
Yes.
The magnet thing is such a great idea, and it works for wigs too. You can sew magnets, or you can sew metal studs into your wigs and then stick things on. Exactly. It's so brilliant. And I just love that people are doing this themselves, like in theater, it's like a team of 20 people getting you dressed in one costume. But in cosplay, it's typically, people build the costumes themselves from the ground up. And I just think it's such a celebration of commitment to craft. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed, actually, that you managed to get the giant gun on the back. I don't know, did you have any challenges trying to get that to kind of balance and sit on your back?
Yeah, so I actually created this this cosplay for BlizzCon. I mean, the last BlizzCon that happened. But yeah, and I think the very first iteration, what I did was I just had like a bunch of magnets on the base, and the base is basically like a little backpack that I walk around with. But that first iteration, you know how busy BlizzCon can be. I walked around and like my cannon would always be falling off because the magnets themselves weren't like strong enough. And thankfully, everybody at the con were like super nice. Sometimes it's like, oh, your cannon just fell off, and they're like walking with like my actual Gatling gun and following me, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, now what I decided to do is I went and I just kind of like got like a screw part. So now like at the base, all I have to do is like just screw it on, and it holds a lot better. So where I shot that video that you just saw, I actually went on a hike for like 20 minutes, and yeah, just being able to walk in that cosplay in like some pretty rocky terrain sometimes is, yeah, I'm so glad I decided to go with the screw idea. So yeah.
I'm so impressed. Yeah, this is so creative. This is so impressive that you managed to not only build all that armor, but you also made it, so walkable. that was the thing I was most concerned about, like if you go full robot, like how stationary are you going to be with your cosplay? Because a lot of people who do those full armor sets, they really struggle getting around, even if it's just like walking back and forth at a con. Like, it is a struggle, and you made it look so easy. So easy.
Oh, thank you. It's actually more easy than I thought it would be, but yeah, I think most of the time I'm just wearing all of this, like the black crop top, the cosplay itself, having the wig, it gets very hot. But yeah, I think at BlizzCon, when it was getting really hot, I thanked myself internally for designing the character, at least my version of the character, to have like a crop top, so at least it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I think what I suffer the most is mainly the part where I'm with the shoulders, because I can't really move my shoulders as much, and also the heels. So yeah, but I think everybody understands for heels.
But it looks great, and that's what it's all about. We don't care if we're uncomfortable.
That's not true.
Epic Cosplay, thank you so much for showcasing your gorgeous Bastion in our May Gala tonight. It's been such a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Our next artist is Sarah Cosplay and Art from Chile, wearing one of my absolute favorite Anna skins in-game. It's a snow owl.
Hi. Thank you so much for inviting me.
A classic with the D. I love it. She's already in character. I love it. Let's take a look at your runway performance.
Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm from Chile, and today I want to share with you my Anna Snowball cosplay. As a lover of birds and Anna herself, as this skin came out, I say to myself, I have to make it because it's literally perfect. The owl mask was what I like the most of all the skin, and the mini owls that can be seen in the rifle, in the backpack or the shoulder patch all harmonize perfectly. How I did it? Most of the armor is made of EV foam and painted in acrylics. I can say I'm proud of the rifle. Took me a whole month to do it and give it a lot of love to make it look perfect. It's the hardest prop I ever done. The mask is a 3D print. I added the ears made in Warbler and the eyes, which were made in resin. I made approximately 400 feathers in gabardine. I like the flexibility that these pieces acquire. I hope you like the result as much as mine.
I love this. Going full emote, going full highlight intros. That was just mind-blowing stuff. Sarah Cosplay and Art. Before we chatting to you, Paul, I want to quickly get your thoughts here on that very particular Anna skin. There are quite a few skins in the game which are borrowing from the animal kingdom. How do you decide which animal to go with which character?
There's something about kind of the wizened old owl. Whether it's true or not, we get that vibe. And I think the thing is, you don't get to see many 60-year-old superheroes in the world of video games these days. So it's so cool to kind of marry the two. I just want to give you kudos right now for the quality of that mask and the gun. Just look so good, because we slave over making sure that all those angles and stuff just hit things right, and you really managed to nail that stuff. It looks really nice.
Yeah, it is a fantastic cosplay. Now, Sarah, maybe walk us through the process of making this cosplay. What was the trickiest part to make, the hardest part to make?
I think it's the rifle. I enjoyed making the rifle. I wanted it to be identical to the in-game model, so I grabbed some foam, lights, paints, and time to make it look perfect. I felt like the result is my best product I ever made.
I thought it was really brilliant to have the, juxtaposition of this like hard armor with feathers. And I love how you had feathers kind of intertwined throughout. You had feathers obviously at the top, but then also on the arms, by the ankles. So tell me a little bit about, how you were able to attach those and what the process was putting that together.
It took a lot of time to make these 400 feathers and the entire skin, the entire costume. But it was funny to do it. It was very funny.
This is one of my favorite skins in the whole game. And what I really liked about the effect of having your face covered and having the owl hood on top, is it kind of gave the feeling of stealth that Anna uses. You know, she's a stealth healer, and the sleep dart, you know, everything about that red as stealthy to me. And then of course you just nailed the iconic look of the the owl skin. So kudos all around.
What kind of materials did you use, Sarah?
It foam more than at all, but gabardine too. Resin from some parts, for example, this part.
I think it was kind of cool because you managed to capture kind of the volumes of this outfit as well, because a super important thing about Anna is the fact that she does have that sniper vibe, that feel of kind of like that, even when it's very out there, the designs, there's still kind of that feeling of the cowl and then the big sweeping outfit. And you managed to capture all that and get all the feathers and all those crazy angles in there, and just pulled it together so nice.
Thank you.
This has just been phenomenal. Like, that's just such a high level of crafting, and that must have taken such a long time to get it just right. And then you go out there and actually also perform as Diana. Like, it felt like Diana in that video. It was, you really like captured her essence, not just in the look, but also in the way you moved. Thank you so much for joining us on our show today. Now it's time to say hello to Never Ending Dreams from the USA. But before we bring him on, I want to talk a little bit about the hero he will be cosplaying today. He's going to come in as Lucio. I mean, all right, listen, Bird, it's a DJ, and you turn him into a hero, like going into battle. Like, how do you make that design work?
Well, I think what's super cool about Lucio is, in a way, he kind of embodies what Overwatch is all about, and it's inclusivity, and the idea of just kind of, you know, bringing these people in, and the whole idea of the world needs more heroes. So they have this, you know, we have this character in Lucio that, you know, he's a DJ, and he's, you know, but he's also kind of pulled himself up from his bootstraps, and he's really tried to like do well for the people around him and kind of contribute in a positive way to his environment. So we love this idea, and it's just kind of a unique take on essentially a superhero.
Jinx, how does one perform as a DJ on a stage without actually DJing? I guess.
No. I mean, a lot of this, you know. I love Lucio because I love the idea of music as a weapon, and also as a healing element. It just makes so much sense to me. Also, Lucio's one of my video game crushes. I have the hots for Junkrat. I don't know how many other people out there agree with me on that, but Lucio's also a very handsome character, especially in his capoeira skin, and he's my backup healer. If someone gets to Moira first, I usually play Lucio because he can kind of hang back and evade people.
Don't you get too distracted looking at your own character model, though. I can see that. Jessica, how much influence does music have into fashion?
Oh, they're so interconnected. I mean, one of our best performing articles every year is just covering the Grammys and what, you know, musicians wear on the red carpet. We talk about what they wear in their music videos or their performance looks, and how that really, you know, helps to create the environment and make the lyrics from the music come alive. So I think that music and fashion, they're both art forms that work together in tandem, you know, and I think with here, I really love this character. I know I keep talking about colors, but the green and the blue, to me, it feels so fun and vibrant. It like reminds me of a good reggae song, you know. So I think that like music and fashion, they're just always in sync, and it really comes alive with this character specifically.
Well, then let's welcome to the show Never Ending Dreams as Lucio.
What's going on?
Yeah, he's coming in his jazz skin, my absolute favorite. Well, Without any further ado, let's take a look at your runway performance, and after that, we're back for a quick chat. Well, you went the extra mile. That is fantastic. Welcome to the show, Never Ending Dreams. Let's talk about that cosplay. I mean, first, I just want to know, how much time did you spend on all of this combined?
305 hours.
It sounds like you actually punched a card there. I took exact track of those minutes spent on it. Well, it paid off. Like, however long it was, it absolutely paid off. This is a fantastic cosplay. Why did you choose this jazz skin?
Well, I like jazz. It's my favorite because it's the only skin thus far where the music actually changes. And I kind of wish there was like other skins that did it, but I just love the fact that it has like an old school flavor to it, and it makes you feel almost like you're in a different era when you play as that. That's
Love it. That skin particular, I like. It's got such a cool blend of just kind of, it does have that old school jazzy, you get the fedora and the whole bit. And then every piece of tech, has been kind of tweaked out. Like the original Lucio obviously has a lot of kind of auditory, things. There's there's kind of the speaker designs that show up all over it. And you've managed to capture all the kind of like that feeling of saxophones and all the brass and all the little buttons and stuff on there. When you were building that stuff out, was it hard to get those shapes to kind of come together?
No, because I built like 5 Lucio skins now, maybe 6. The hardest was definitely the gun though.
Yes. And the weathering, which by the way, the weathering on that gun looked fantastic.
Thank you.
I love how many stunts you pulled with this cosplay. No, because the fact that the music comes out of the costume, I mean, that's such an amazing detail and such a stunt you pulled. And I love those parallels between like the drag world and the cosplay world, where there's room for everyone to shine, but we're all trying to be the best secretly. And so when you can get your costume to actually play the music, that was obviously an important detail to you. So congratulations on pulling it off, because I'm sure that probably gave you some hours of insanity to coordinate.
Definitely.
I really love your outfit, aside from the LED part, but just the tie, the hat, the glasses. I just think it looks so cool, and it's really so organic when you speak to jazz. It makes me think of speakeasies. So what really inspired that part of your look?
Well, it's the only Lucio that has a more of a, I guess, professional modern like look to it. The capoeira one has like he's shirtless. The one from Archives is also shirtless. I like the Snow Fox one a lot too, but I generally just wanted to try to make all different types of Lucios just to see where my skill was at. So as far as like the cloth comes, I'm not the greatest sewer or anything like that. I primarily focus on like armor, electronics, speaker systems, things like that. As far as clothing goes, it's more of an afterthought when it comes to the whole costume for me.
Well, as an actor, thought you did a great job because I think it looks really, really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really did. I'm wondering, how tricky was it to get the music, or rather the LEDs, to pulsate to the beats? Is that something you've worked on prior to this already, or was that a first for this particular cosplay?
The first time I did it was when I did like low skin Lucio, and it was a nightmare. It was like so hard to do. What I ended up doing was I took like a car subwoofer. In this particular cosplay, it's like a 7-inch subwoofer with 2 mid-bass speakers on the side, and the base of the gun is made out of wood, and then it has like a metal bowl around it, which the subwoofer sits in. And all that wing is wired to an amplifier. It's like a miniature amplifier in my backpack, which is Bluetooth to my cell phone. So what I'll do is I'll have like a Overwatch playlist, and I'll have the playlist running, and it amplifies out through the gun and through the legs.
That is so clever, man. Well, I'm glad you had the nightmare first, and then it was a bit of an easier time with the second time around. So that's good. Got to get that one out of the way. Well, Never Ending Dreams, thank you so much. Seeing that Lucio absolutely made my day. Thank you so much for coming onto our show.
Thank you.
And our gala's last performance will be from Zibarta's cosplay from Denmark, who will be joining as Mercy. And right, that character is obviously very near and dear to my heart. As far as I know, this is the only Swiss character in any video game. I am from Switzerland. So, Paul, thanks for the representation. I really, really appreciate it. What went into creating the Doctor?
The thing about Mercy is she's another one of those characters that was kind of out of the gate. There was just such a cool, iconic design behind it. Because, Mercy is all about the halo and the wings, right? Once we kind of honed in on that, it was just a matter of kind of refining that. We knew that the gameplay was as a healer, so everything kind of came together and just really supported that. So, like I say, it's all wings, and I know up front, I know Zibartos is going to do some cool stuff with these wings, so I'm super excited to see this one.
Jinx Monsoon, I know you're kind of exclusive Moira, but have you ever felt the draw to Mercy, to the good side?
I really tried with Mercy. I'm main as Moira because she's the only healer I ever got good at. But what I really love about Mercy, the character, is so with Overwatch, I think you have so much diversity and so many stereotypes shattered and so many expectations shattered, and you have so many badass healers, which kind of goes against the healer archetype. And then you have Mercy, who is the ultimate healer archetype, and she's designed as an angel, and she has that badass staff. I just think it's so cool because she's also extremely powerful in the game, and she's extremely frustrating to play against, even though she is the quintessential hero, every healer archetype. So I just love that every base is covered with Overwatch. You've got every kind of skill you might have as a gamer. There's a character for you. And if you're someone who likes to support, Mercy is, like I said, very frustrating, but really wonderful.
There's also the duality of a lot of characters. If you feel like you want a hardcore core support, you can do that on Moira, or just use damage orbs if you feel like it, if you're so inclined. There's a lot more to those characters. Jessica Andrews, I want to know, how often do professions such as Mercy being a doctor, that very much is represented in her skin, in her outfits, how often are jobs or professions being represented in fashion?
Well, I love that question because I think that professions really inspire fashion in a lot of ways, right? You think of those really sharp military style coats that people wear that have the belt and they feel so structured. That reminds me of workwear, right? Or you think of uniforms that we're often inspired by, whether that's soldiers, police, that really shows up in fashion a lot of times with accessories and details. So I think that we kind of complement each other, and there's always this play between utilitarian wear and then style. So I love to see how it comes together with this costume, because I think that there's a way you can be inspired by it, but then take it to the next level with your creativity.
Well, let's see where Zibartos cosplay took it. He is joining us now here on the show. Welcome, Zibartos.
Hey guys.
Oh, with the halo and everything. Well, let's take a look at your runway performance and then chat right after. Superb, absolutely superb. Zibartos, welcome to the show. Let's dive straight into it. I want to know how did you figure out how to do the wings as well as the caduceus stuff and the mechanical parts in those two pieces?
Mostly trial and error, really. It took me a year and a half to complete the costume, so I had a lot of time at the drawing board to figure out exactly what I want to achieve. Yeah, it was just a lot of time.
I hope you made multiple halos because I'm going to need to order one. When we saw
Right
the
on.
back of you, it was really hard to tell what the halo is attached to. It really feels like it's floating there. How did you achieve that?
Yeah, actually, it's my own design. I call it the invisible mount because basically you can barely tell what's happening over here. But yeah, so it's further covered when I'm wearing the entire outfit, you know, with the makeup and everything, and then the what's the neck thing called? So that hides it even more. But yeah, it's kind of like this steel thing that I came up with to hold it.
It's
Is
really
it mounting on
fantastic.
your head or your back?
So it's kind of like a combination of things. Like it's kind of like sunglasses resting on my ears, and then it's running down my neck, and it's resting on the back of my neck. So it's kind of like a tripod, you know, stabilizing.
Super creative.
Wow. Yeah, so good.
This whole look makes me think of when Mercy ults, and instead of healing the whole team, she flies off and starts taking the other team down with her pistol.
Battle Mercy.
And everyone goes,
Yeah.
everyone screams, "We got Battle Mercy!"
Yeah. Well, I based this design on the early concepts version of Mercy that I found in the Art of Overwatch book. So in that version, she's depicted as this battle angel where she actually has like more of a gun than a staff. So this is what you saw in the video. And yeah, that's where the inspiration came from. And yeah, I see why you would say it's the Battle Mercy.
I gotta say I appreciate that a lot because, you know, from an artist standpoint, you know, we generate so many different ideas, and so many of them, once they get boiled down, you know, Mercy becomes Mercy. But there's all these really great ideas that end up on the cutting room floor. So it's super cool to see somebody like you come along and do something with it. It's so creative and delivers such a cool design.
Well, thank you. I had to fill a lot of gaps, you know, from Mercy's concept in later stages and in-game version, just because the sketch didn't really show a lot of things. So I just kind of had to sort of guess what the designers meant or wanted to, you know, do with a particular part. So I had to fill in a lot of gaps that are not visible in the sketch to sort of finalize it, you know, to bring it back to reality, because you cannot really hide it when you're making it a physical thing.
This reminds me of Billy Porter's Met Gala look from 2019. He actually had a 10-foot wings that he wore from the blondes. And if I remember correctly, that took him about 5 hours to make, the designers. So I'm wondering how long it took you to make those wings. I'm just curious.
So, I mean, the majority of the costume was kind of difficult to make because the wings and all of the parts are made out of metal. So I had to learn how to weld and figure out how to 3D model. So there's a lot of engineering involved because the wings, like I said, are metal. So there's a lot of mass. So therefore, it was a bit challenging to have it move that fast. So it took me around maybe a year out of a year and a half total to complete the wings themselves, while the rest of the half year was everything else that I finished up on.
Excuse me, you learned to weld? You learned to weld to make a costume? Okay.
Yeah.
Way to overachieve, sir. I love that. Now, I'm actually very familiar with your Instagram as well, and I saw that you also managed to build basically a lift which you can key out and you can attach yourself to. Was that just for the Mercy cosplay or a general thing you wanted to do?
Kind of both. I really thought that it would lend itself to some good photo opportunities, but I also am kind of thinking of making a 2.0 version of that rig to make a floating Sigma cosplay where you can actually like drive around and be elevated midair,
I love that. Well, Zen has to follow right after, right? You just have to cover all the floaty ones, then we're good to go. Well, fantastic stuff. Bartosz, thank you so very much sharing your talent with us for the May Gala.
No, thanks for having me.
It was absolutely our pleasure. What a great performance to end our day of cosplay extravaganza. Now, we saw so many great things, but I still want to pick your brains, dearest panel, starting with you, Jinx. What was your favorite thing of today? What got you the most excited?
I think my favorite thing of today was spending the whole day with people who love Overwatch as much as I do, because I don't have a lot of gamers in my life. I got my husband hooked on Valhalla, which was a special achievement. And Breath of the Wild, he also plays that one. But I have no one in my life to talk about Overwatch with. And to spend the whole day talking about our favorite skins and little like Easter eggs we all love. It was just a lot of fun.
It is so great to get together with like-minded people. Now, Paul, from a character design perspective, how is it for you to see those characters which are alive in the game, but you now get to see them out there in the wild in real life?
It's a kind of surreal feeling, when you work on something like this, we will, I won't say we're putting in a year and a half on putting together some of these things, but we slave over trying to make sure everything is as perfect as possible, and we want to make sure that every shape is just so. And to see people come in and have such a love for this stuff, to bring it into the real world, and you're like, God, I remember spending the time on that little bit of armor there, and that angle, and like, was it the right thing? And they've come in and lovingly crafted this stuff and made sure that it did all the right things, and the creativity around how do you realize this in the real world. We do fantastical things that you can only do on a computer screen, and yet here we have some incredible artists and craftsmen who are building this stuff for real. So it was just super exciting to see, and I can't thank you guys enough for including me to be a part of this.
Oh, it's such a pleasure having you on with us. Now, Jessica Andrews, I know usually now you'd be out and about with the glitz and glam of the Met Gala. Were we able to fill the void a little bit with our cosplay gala?
Well, it's so funny, and I might mess up my invite by saying this, but I actually thought this was more interesting. And the reason being, I think everyone nailed it, right? There's so much time and effort and creativity put into each of these looks. It was really exciting to see how they interpreted a character's look and really made it come alive, and added to it. I mean, I thought the wings were brilliant that Mercy had, and like Lucio's turntable. I mean, we don't even see that kind of stuff on the red carpet. So I think that some celebrities could learn from these cosplayers, actually. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely, our pleasure. Thank you three so much for joining and lending your thoughts and your passion to this panel. And of course, once again, I want to thank all the cosplayers for sharing their talent with all of us today. Now, if you missed any of their performances, don't you worry. Or if you just want to rewatch the whole thing, because why wouldn't you? You can find the May Gala as a VOD here on youtube.com/Overwatch League. And speaking of the Overwatch League, we will return next Friday with the June Jazz qualifiers. So make sure to tune in for all the action when we're back online.